Good morning. Welcome to day two, or number two, of our Dailyish Devotionals. Hope this day finds you doing well. I suppose you've noticed the backdrop. Nothing symbolizes perseverance and stick-to-itiveness and loyalty and the ability to push through and continue on than being a Minnesota Vikings fan. I mean, you gotta realize this. 50, 60 years of existence, 4 losses in the Super Bowl, so many close calls. I can remember vividly the last time my hopes were dashed. Brett Favre was our quarterback. We were in New Orleans. We were driving down for the game, winning, clinching, field goal. It was in range. Things were locked up. I can remember Isaac was a baby, and he was asleep. So I was running, tiptoeing down the hall, thinking, good Lord, I'm going to watch a Vikings win the Super Bowl. This is insane. Then I watched Brett Favre throw an interception. And that, my friends, is the moment I realized that I could never put my wholehearted faith and commitment into anything except family, job, and my faith. A little piece of me died that day. And the only thing that could ever resurrect it would be a national championship for the Gophers, row the boat, Sky Yuma, go Gophers, or a Super Bowl for the Vikings. Otherwise, that little piece of me is dead forever. So faith and perseverance and stick-to-itiveness is the hallmark, or are the hallmarks of a Vikings fan. Couldn't think of a more appropriate theme for the background. On a side note, I'm out of blankets. So we've either got Oregon Ducks or Florida Gators, and that may be a stretch to get those into it, but we'll see what we can do. If this is how you feel, it's okay. We'll get through it. Piece of advice for a dive into the devotions. I found what helped me is I have found some news sites that I trust and stuck to reading them. Even up and reading any kind of virus update on Facebook because I read way too much stuff. I'm like, is that true? And I find out, oh, they say something else. And then so no. If you're freaking out, it's okay. We will get through it. It will be difficult. Find somewhere you trust, stick to it, follow the guidelines. As a lot of people say, and as this devotion will teach us, it's not always about you. How you treat others and what you do for others is important too. So stay home for a bit. Listen to some devotionals. There's some great ones out there. Let's get to it. We're going through Max Lucado's book, He Chose the Nails. We're in chapter 2, and this is a tough one. You know, I smack my lips when I talk on a camera. Why is that? Now that I say that, you're going to hear me every time I smack my lips together, but I'm going to do better not to do that. It's super annoying when I watch it back myself, so I'm going to try and stop. The book is Max Lucado's He Chose the Nails. We're on day 2, and it is a difficult chapter. I thought long and hard about doing this difficult chapter because we don't really need difficult and heavy in times like this, but you know, we can learn something. And it does have some bearing on how we live today. The second chapter is about sin. Max starts the chapter up with a story about the Beauty and the Beast. You've seen the movie? I hope you've seen the movie. If you haven't, spoiler alert, skip ahead about a minute. We're going to spoil the ending. It's Tracy's favorite movie. I've seen the original cartoon. I've seen the new cartoon. I have seen the live action version. If it comes on, we stop. We watch it. Boys scramble. I happily allow my wife to watch her movie as we snuggle together on the couch, bonding over a shared experience and a great happy ending. But Max asked the question, and it'll make me watch the movie different the next time we do. What would have happened to the Beast if Beauty never showed up? Or what would have happened to the Beast if the Beauty didn't care enough to help save him from his curse? I don't know. Would have been stuck like that forever. The last rose petal would have fell. Spoiler alert. She kisses the Beast. Everyone lives happily ever after. Max says the Beast is our sin. God and Christ, of course, are the beauty. But they go way beyond just kissing us and helping change us. They take our place. But we'll get to that at the end. Probably never been cursed and stuck in a castle and transformed into a beast. But Max has another example to show how our beast and sin side comes out. He gives an example of him driving a car on it's a 4-lane road, and he's going to have to pass somebody, and his lane ends a little ways up there, so he gives a little extra gas to get in front of him, and when that person realizes what he's doing, they give a little extra gas too, and they're kind of racing, and as the lane comes to an end, the other car is slightly ahead of him, so he has to stop, pull in behind, and he does what every normal red-blooded human being would do. He just calmly goes back to the 2-second safe following distance and waits for his next opportunity. Of course not. He rides that person's butt, but just far enough back that the high beams that he's got on reflect right in their mirror. That person responds by slowing down to 15 miles an hour. And there they are, high beams on, driving 15 miles an hour down the road. Eventually the road opens up again and comes to a red light. Max ends up pulling up next to the person. The person looks at him, smiles, and waves. I'm like, it's not the high kind of wave. It's a wave, all right, but there's a special finger being used. At that instant, Max realizes 2 things. 1, he's glad he doesn't have a fish sticker on his back of his car. And 2, he realizes his beast side came out big time. What was he doing? Ever been there? Ever sinned? Dumb question. Remember, Max's book goes and he tells us about the story of Jesus and his journey to the cross and crucifixion. All that was needed for Jesus to bring us in a relationship again with him was to cover our debt and was the act of dying for us. That would have secured our salvation. Yet there is so much more to that story, the journey to the cross, and that's what Max focuses on, the gifts that show us just how much God loved us, how much he endured for us. In chapter 1, he talked about the gifts that Jesus gave us, the creation, the beauty. So Max focuses in this one about what the soldiers do with Jesus after his trial. They're charged with taking him to the cross to be crucified on Golgotha. And yet, first they whip him, then they make fun of him, mock him, and then spit on him. Here's a story from the Gospel of Matthew. Jesus was beaten with whips and handed over to the soldiers to be crucified. The governor's soldiers took Jesus into the governor's palace, and they all gathered around him. They took off his clothes and put a red robe on him. Using thorny branches, they made a crown, put it on his head, and a stick they put in his right hand. Then the soldiers bowed before him, making fun of him, saying, "Hail, King of the Jews." They spat on Jesus. Then they took his stick and began to beat him on the head. After they finished, the soldiers took off the robe and put his own clothes on him. And they led him away to be crucified. Max's spitting was intended to degrade the soul. And why did the soldiers do this to Jesus? They made themselves be big by making Jesus look small. Have we ever done that? Have we ever looked down at others to make ourselves feel better? Have we ever gossiped, slandered, thought ourselves superior than someone else? Probably after I woke up this morning a few dozen times. But Max doesn't share that story to make us feel bad. He shares us that story to remind us that how we treat others is how we treat Jesus. Wait a minute, Pastor, I thought you told me he didn't tell that story to make me feel bad, but when you say that, I feel bad. If how I treat others is how I treat Jesus, because sometimes I don't treat others so well. I'm there with you. That's why I don't have a fish or any kind of identifying marks as me as a Christian or a pastor on my car. Just a chrome horn. But seriously, how we treat others is how we treat Jesus. Times like this, of course that's applicable. Is our first response selfish only? What can I do to make sure I'm okay? Survival of the fittest. Everyone else be darned. If you didn't buy 400 rolls of toilet paper, then too bad, so sad. Or do we find ways we can reach out and help, share? We're not very good with dealing with scarcity. That is evidenced by how many times I've been to the grocery store, right? This is a time that reveals our character. And what will it reveal? The light of Christ or the beast? A good question to ask ourselves. Max goes on. He says, what did Jesus do with the spit? He says, let the spit signify our filth, our sin, our beast. He carried it to the cross. He didn't wipe it off. Soldiers offered him a sponge to drink. Someone carried his cross. Angels were only a prayer away, but nothing took that spit, our filth, away from him as he went to the cross. He took it to the cross for us. He carries it to the cross. Here's the correlation with Beauty and the Beast ends. In the fable, the beauty kisses the beast. In the Bible, the beauty does much more. He becomes the beast, so the beast can become the beauty. Jesus changes places with us. The sinless one took on the face of a sinner so that we sinners could take on the face of a saint. Know that. Jesus took your filth, your sin, your beast side to the cross because he loved you that much for it. He knows when we mess up. He knows we'll do it again. He knew we would do it again, and he took it to the cross anyway. So we could forgive ourselves, so we could forgive others, so we could find that beauty within us and let it shine through from time to time. Will we do it perfectly all the time? Nope. But we got to keep trying. But especially in times like this, find the inner beauty. Remember how we treat others is how we treat Jesus. Find ways to share, to be a light. Maybe a bit different for a while, but no, we will get through it together. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you see you tomorrow. Thank you.